Hold on to your original Hunger Games books, kids, because Suzanne Collins is rewriting the Capitol. If you haven't started Sunrise and the Reaping, then you might not know what I'm talking about, but you probably could tell from the last book. But let's make one thing clear. This is not anti Suzanne Collins or anti Hunger Games because I love Suzanne Collins' writing. This is really a critique on how when society changes, the author changes. And it's just very noticeable in this series. So let's rewind. The Capitol, for all intents and purposes, was villainized homosexuality. No one cared because it came out before cancel culture. And it contained so much violence that people disliked the violence and ignored everything else. What am I talking about? The Capitol is full of transgenders, tattoos, free love, furries, any element of LGBTQT plus community, plus a bunch of stereotypes of celebrities. I mean, it wasn't just about homosexuality. It was about whatever Suzanne Collins thought was extreme when she wrote the book, which was probably over 20 years ago. And it's clearly her ideas of this have changed. Essentially, you had the Capitol waging war on traditional values of the district. I say this because everyone in the district was painted as wholesome and just trying to get by in life. Now, your first thing is you're going to say is, Jolene, that's not true. Finnick was bisexual and he was in the district. And my response to you is that was in the movie. In the book, that actually never happened. What you do see in the book is Finnick trying to save Peeta's life and giving him CPR. He didn't actually kiss Peeta or anything. So Suzanne writes these 3 books, and what happens is the people that are in charge of the book industry have changed hands, as well as her finding that overnight her audience, the young adult market, has completely changed. So, quick refresher. The book industry is no longer conservative. It's maintained by the liberals. And then we have the teens, no longer conservative, but a growing number of LGBTQ community growing in the teen community. But she's written a book that literally has made this community villainized. So what do you do? Another thing that happened is now the movies have come out and she has spent a lot of time with the very people that she has villainized. So it's time for some course correction. And the first thing that we're going to do in order for you to be allowed to sell a book, Suzanne, is to make your statement clear that you were never against these people to begin with. And how do you do that? Well, in Sunrise and the Reaping, you will make the character make a blatant statement that the Capitol is actually against gay people. So how does this come up in Sunrise and the Reaping? And this is not a spoiler, because it does not add to the plot. It's just a random insert to try to course correct the way that she has created the Capitol. Because it wasn't enough that the Capitol took their children and sent them to fight each other to the death, we actually have to figure out a new way to make the villains feel more relatable to the modern growing gay community. They are now against homosexuality. Homosexuality has to be kept in secret. It does? What? In what Capitol? Certainly not in the Hunger Games Capitol. Not the Capitol that you wrote in books 1, 2, and 3, though I did notice that the references to LGBTQ stereotypes lessened. It was very prevalent in book 1, and it was very in book 2. You get less of it, more focus on eccentric characters. I did not read the last one where about Snape, or not Snape, that was Harry Potter. um yeah, Snake. Dang it. Snow. I don't know why I forgot that. They're just so close. Snape, Snow. I watched the movie. So why am I even pointing this out? Honestly, it just hit me odd that no one's talking about it. How everyone is so amazed and like thrilled that Haymitch is like having this huge like, support movement when you aren't addressing why. Like, what is the actual motivation of the author beyond, like, behind that statement? And why do I say hold on to your books? It's definitely not because I ever liked the way that The Capitol was written, or the districts for that matter. The prose in those books are amazing. That's why I loved the books. But face it, The Capitol and the districts were very black and white. It was good versus evil, and there was no in between. There was no nuance. There was no like really exploring that parts of society and government can, have like nuanced kind of things. So good for her for finally including that the people in the Capitol, some of them don't like what's going on, and that some of the people in the districts just aren't good people either. It makes it feel more real. All I'm saying about the books and holding on to them is that editions come out, and it would not be unlikely in this day and age that all of those references got erased and no longer existed in the future. So if you have one of those older prints, it's going to probably be of more value because they're probably going to change it if they haven't already. This could be a collector's edition.